Speedway has proven to be one of, well, over the years, Bristol Motor Speedway has proven to be one of the most exciting half-mile tracks you'll ever see. Dale Earnhardt was the winner last year. We got a quick glimpse of him just there. And believe it or not, around this half-mile track, they pack 160,000 spectators into this facility. Second visit to the track this year. And our pole position driver, Rusty Wallace, has already won. And it is the GoRacing.com 500 laps of this track. The fastest of the half-mile tracks. Qualifying, tell you, very, very fast for half-mile racing. There's the championship positions after 22 of 34 races. Bobby Labonte, pole sitter, really a Bristol racing expert. And you'll see him in the unfamiliar all-blue race car this time round. On the front row then with Jeff Gordon. They are front stretch 650 feet, back stretch the same. And take a look at that corner banking, 36 degrees. That's why they can run so fast. And look at that crowd. Ready for 500 laps of racing at Bristol. Always guaranteed on the concrete surface to bring us a lot of action. Rusty Wallace, 8 times a winner here. Jeff Gordon has an up-and-down season so far. Joins him on the front row. Val Steve Park for Dale Earnhardt Racing is on row 2 with Mike Skinner looking for that elusive first NASCAR win. Row 3 is driver from Danbury, Connecticut, where I grew up, Jerry Nadeau, alongside race winner this year, Tony Stewart, always fast at this track. Short track specialist, though, is Mark Martin. He has the Busch lap record round here. He's joined on row number 4 with Sterling Marlin, 25-year NASCAR veteran. Pilots on row 5, second-generation NASCAR driver Robert Presley, and the FamilyClick.com Roush entry for Kevin LePage. Row 6 is our first rookie, Elliott Sadler, and the fastest rookie so far this year is Dale Earnhardt, Robbie Gordon, then Brett Bodine. Down on row 7, Ken Schrader and Ward Burton in the Caterpillar car on row 8. Dale Earnhardt and Jeremy Mayfield head on row 9. And brother, 3-time champion, Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip. As we look further down the order, Terry Labonte, 96 winner, Kyle Petty running for the last time in the 44 car as he takes over his late son, Adam's number 45 permanently for the rest of the year. Looking further down, there's the 2 championship contenders right down on row 16, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte. Kart racer Scott Pruitt continues his sharp learning curve in NASCAR racing. Championship contender Jeff Burton with Jeff Bodine on row 18. And Ricky Rudd a little further down than he'd like to be. He's joined on row 19 by Chad Little. These guys getting in on a provisional. As are the rest of the field. Jimmy Spencer and Ted Musgrave on row 20. And Wally Dallenbach and Ricky Mast on 21. Finally bringing up the back of the field is Dave Marcus. Well, then we take a look at the guys who didn't make it into the race. And we look at the camera card there of Rick Mast in his AJ Ford entry. Jeff Burton in the Excite Batteries car is also carrying a camera. Championship leader Bobby Labonte. Well, as things start to get underway, we've got a trackside commentary crew. Jerry Punch, Ned Jarrett, and Betty Parsons. And we'll hand them over to you now.
Single file to the first 4 spots, but it is Tony Stewart and Mark Martin who are dicing for 5th position off of turn 2.
Stewart hung up there for a pretty good bit, but
best one, at least in the first part of the race here at Bristol.
Now the 9th and 10th place starters back there also still side by side. Robert Russell, who's kept on the page, Benny, still running door to door.
Those guys would give about $200 to someone if you just let them into the bottom of the racetrack early on. When these tires are cold, everything is fresh. You do not want to be on the outside. Dale Earnhardt on the inside of Ken Slater. Slater in the car number 36, the yellow car. Hanging pretty good up there on that outside. It's a battle for the 15th position.
In happy hour earlier today, Earnhardt quit very, very early, which is a bad sign for the competition. When he's that happy early in happy hour, watch out.
Bobby Hamilton home by Schrader. Now Schrader goes up the racetrack, and Kenny Wallace trying to squeeze on the inside. But Kenny Wallace was patient. That's what you need to do, patient, especially these early laps. Yeah, he might need a break himself sometime a little bit later on, so we gave Kenny Schrader a break there. Jared Earnhardt on the inside of Robbie Gordon, taking a spot away, moves him up to the 14th position. He started back in 17th.
Remember, he won here a year ago in this race from 26 spots. The farthest anyone has come from in the field to win at Bristol. In fact, he had been the previous farthest back at 24th back in 1993.
There's the lead car, Rusty Wallace. And you see how low he keeps it on this racetrack, right down on the bottom. That's what you have to do in the early going, but I expect we'll see Rusty down there all night long because he sets his car up to win there.
Interestingly enough, both the lead two cars, the front two cars that qualify were brand new cars. Rusty brought a new Ford and Jeff Gordon brought a brand new Chevrolet. Figuring that you just, whoa, there's a little bit of contact. That's typical Bristol. Rick Mast and Wally Dollenbach.
There'll be very few cars that come out here tonight that don't have some stars on it somewhere. Red Bodine on the inside of Rick Mast. Rick lost a little bit of his momentum when he Wally Dollenbach got tangled there, and Brett had a good run on him. Brett had a good qualifying run here, and unfortunately got caught up in that wreck earlier today with Michael Waltrip and Jerry Maybe.
And they pulled this car out of the backup. It's the car he ran at Michigan last Sunday on a 2-mile super speedway.
See, Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, ran so well at Michigan last week. Back in the pack, and the 01 car is Ted Musgrave. They're running 32nd and 33rd. Jeff Burton right in front of them, trying to get on the inside of Chad Little.
Looking back from Jeff Burton's X-Size Ford as they go inside of Chad Little, as you heard Benny say a moment ago. Ricky Rudd never won here in 45 starts. They're looking for win number 1 here in the 2000 season.
And Ricky Rudd is one of the most patient drivers that you will find in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. It's a surprise that he has someone here at Bristol because, as he says, that patience is a key virtue here at Bristol.
And he's finished second 4 times. He's been there a lot of times, but hasn't been able to just quite get to the front there on that final lap.
So here's the man that's in front, is Rusty Wallace.
Rusty Wallace with a new event qualifying record. He and Jeff Gordon started 1-2. They remain 1-2 after 15 left. It is Wallace Gordon at the front. Back in a moment.
You join us back for the GoRacing.com 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. And still leading the field is that all-blue car of Rusty Wallace from that man there, Jeff Gordon, Ford from Chevy. And these two have just started to edge away a little bit as we go into darkness in Tennessee from the rest of the field. Well, Rusty Wallace really has been the master of the short track racing this year. As we see Jeff Gordon battling away, Rusty Wallace has led. Oh, we got an accident here. That is Steve Park in turn number 2 in his Chevy. Looks like he gets away with not too much damage. Ward Burton also involved in that incident. That brings out the yellow flags. We look at the front 2 runners. saying Rusty Wallace led 47% of all the short track races this year. That really is dominant. That's our first caution on lap 30 of 500. So a long way to go here at Bristol. And just look at that crowd. Field bunches up. Steve Park went into the wall. Doesn't look like he sustained too much damage. And it looks like, well, he doesn't even look like he came into the pit lane. He brings out the yellow. Here we get a look at it here. Oh, it's just at the top of the screen. You see Ward Burton spins, or excuse me, Steve Park. And that's Ward Burton spinning. No damage to him, really. Steve Park actually does get up into the wall, and that is the Caterpillar car of Ward Burton just spinning. Number 22, he goes in, changes tires. Looks like it's going to be a relatively short yellow. So there we have it. Up to 30 of 500 laps. It's Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Mike Skinner, Tony Stewart, and Mark Martin. Well, here we get some replays here. This is Darrell Waltrip getting involved here, making contact with the number 6 car. That's Mark Martin, the 6 car at the back, and that is Darrell Waltrip in the 66 Ford, making his final run here at Bristol in his retirement year. That's a shame to see him going up into the wall. Wasn't very heavy contact, but Mark Martin, and there's Darrell Waltrip going up and does sustain some contact. 12 times he has won at what is essentially his local track here at Bristol. Restart then, lap 97. Rusty Wallace is leading this race from Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart has moved up. Well, he's running in 3rd position, and Mark Martin running in 4th. Just close action here. Now, television doesn't always do it justice, but 36 degrees of banking down through the corners means that they can really run these Winston Cup cars very fast indeed for a half-mile track. 125 mile an hour average qualifying speed is very quick indeed, and that is the number 75 of Wally Dallenbach. And Ward Burton again getting involved there in the Pontiac, the Caterpillar Pontiac we saw before. As we go on board with Burton, looking back, he spun down the field. Well, we don't know exactly how that happened. Maybe we will get a replay as we look at. Well, that is the number 2. That is Rusty Wallace. So here we are. And down to the bottom of the screen, that's Dale Jarrett. Number 88 car just seems to get loose. Ward Burton again involved in somebody else's problem. Just spin. Jarrett nearly, but it's Wally Dallenbach who comes off worse. Here we are, the Exide Batteries car, Jeff Burton. We look on board that. Just look up ahead and you see Jarrett and Ward Burton. Jeff Burton just manages to avoid making contact with his brother. Oh, and that is Wally Dallenbach and Ward Burton making contact, both drivers. We understand are continuing okay. Beautiful shot of Bristol there. Well, we've moved ahead here, lap 388 laps to go. Rusty Wallace is still leading this race. And that is Tony Stewart, who goes up and takes 2nd place from Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart, already a winner this year, as is Jeff Gordon. Wow, 377 laps to go. That's the number 12 car, Jeremy Mayfield. It looks like he's got a problem. And he's running very slow on the outside line. And, yeah, it looks like he may have a blown tire. And the number 12 Ford, he does. That front right tire is gone, so he's going to be limping his way back to the pits. Well, Rusty Wallace leads this race. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin up there. And the Intimidator Dale Earnhardt making a move up just ahead of Mark Martin, as Jeremy Mayfield's car just absolutely shreds the rubber as he tries to make it back to the pit lane. Bobby Hamilton, Steve Park, Mike Skinner, and Elliott Sadler round out our top 10. And that is going to cause some bodywork damage, but these are all steel paneled cars, so shouldn't cause any lasting damage, but brings him into the pits. Wow, 310 laps to go now. Tony Stewart is now leading this race from Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart having moved in the lead. Sterling Mullen third. Jeff Gordon right up there still. Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. Well, as the American crew went away to a commercial break, we did not see the pictures as to why Tony Stewart is leading. But here we get the replay. 350 laps to go at turn number 2. Rusty Wallace is fighting a very, very loose race car. And Tony Stewart is taking advantage. Wallace so good at running down on that low, low line. And that allowed Tony Stewart to come through. 290 laps to go now. Lap 210. Regular pit stops. We saw off camera. And that is the race leader Tony Stewart in his Pontiac. Coming in for pit service, as does Rusty Wallace. So right now, the battle at the front is Tony Stewart and Rusty Wallace. Earlier it was Wallace and Jeff Gordon. And the Bristol crowd being treated to some action. 238 laps to go. Lap 262 of the race. And that is Tony Stewart trying to get by Jeff Bodine in the Chevrolet. Bodine running down a lap. So looking to take his third win of the year, Tony Stewart. And Jeff Gordon has dropped back from fighting at the battle there. We just see the 24 DuPont car, Hendrick's entry. Now, reports we have, he has lost his cylinder and he's in that engine and he is dropping back with a severe lack of power. So not a good day for the Hendricks crew, and Jeff Gordon, as defending champion, Winston Cup champion Dale Jarrett, goes around the outside of him, quickly followed by Steve Park. And that's Bobby Labonte right behind Steve Park. In the Interstate Batteries car puts Jeff Gordon down another place. Wow, Rusty Wallace is under pressure here now from Mark Martin for second place. Wallace, one of the winningest drivers at this track, but Mark Martin is a fantastic short track driver, actually holds the Busch racing lap record around here. So Mark Martin looking to make a move. Great battle this is now. Rusty Wallace, our early race leader. Tony Stewart still leads. Rusty Wallace is second. But Mark Martin really wants to take that second place. Oh, and it looks like he's going to just squeeze by on the backstretch. Oh, no, extremely close. Oh, he does, though. He just gives Rusty Wallace a gentle little tap and manages to tuck through. Mark Martin gets up into second place. Now 230 laps to go at Bristol. Tony Stewart dispenses of more back markers. Join us for more action from Bristol right after this. Well, welcome back to Bristol, and unfortunately, sometimes our host broadcaster go away to commercial breaks when some of the action happens, and this is a replay of Mark Martin, who is our new leader, getting past Tony Stewart. Well, I'm glad to know we don't bring you all of the American commercial breaks, but sometimes that means we miss the action. Wow, and that is contact there between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton. That's some pretty severe contact, but Mark Martin leads this race now from Tony Stewart. Well, that is Jeff Gordon getting a lap down now, still suffering with running on 7 cylinders in that Chevrolet, and that is not a way to run quickly around Bristol. So he goes a lap down, or is just about to, with our new leader, Mark Martin. Tony Stewart right in behind. 180 laps to go. Well, that is Bobby Hillin Jr., the number 9 car in his Ford. And that looks like our championship leader, Bobby Labonte. Yes, it is. Now, Bobby Labonte is driving injured and suffering a lot of pain driving that car. He was running in 10th position, but looks like he's going to go a lot down. And he really is suffering in that car, Bobby Labonte. But soldiering on as best he can to keep that championship position at the top of the table. Oh, there we are. That is on board with David Green. As we get another yellow at Bristol. It's so difficult on such a fast half-mile track for the other drivers to make an avoidance. And there we see it. That's how Bobby Labonte gets involved. The number 18 Interstate Batteries car leading this championship manages to come away without too much damage. But his leader's into the pits now. So there is Mark Martin, our race leader. Getting service, wants to get back out in the lead of this race. Tony Stewart has led the earlier laps. Oh, and it looks like Mark Martin's going to get back out in the lead. Or is he? Oh no, so it is Rusty Wallace who manages to get back into the lead as they come up on slower traffic. So Rusty Wallace from Mark Martin just on the outside. Tony Stewart tucked right in behind. So things poised for more racing action at Dale Earnhardt, who has dropped out of the top 5 now. He's got some handling problems with that Goodwrench Chevrolet. Winner last year here at Bristol, having a good run in the championship. Wow, Bobby Labonte not having a good run right now at Bristol. He looks like he's going to go further and further down as he spends a little longer in the pits than he'd like. .149 laps to go then. Rusty Wallace leads from Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin up to 3rd, but that is Mike Skinner, who has had a major crash here. We get a review. Do we get a replay of what happened here? Oh, and Mike Skinner just seems to, don't know who he gets involved with there, but gets some heavy frontal damage. Oh, Mike Skinner just up at the top of your picture. Gets involved with somebody else. Can't see who that is, but sustained some pretty serious contact. This is on board the Lowe's car with Mike Skinner. Just gets a tap and just gets sideways on. Are we going to see some frontal contact here? Oh, that's Robert Presley in the 77 car, who's got up into the wall. Yellow flag out again here. So Robert Presley brings out another yellow flag at Bristol. Wow, that's going to bring our leaders into the pits. As that pace car brings them round slowly. It looks like Rusty Wallace might be staying out. Whatever he does, the others are likely to follow. So this is decision time for Rusty Wallace. Looks like the rest of them are coming in. Rusty Wallace is going to stay out. But no, last minute, look at that. Look at that. Rusty Wallace just decides last minute to dive in. Great tactical move that by Rusty Wallace. Dale Earnhardt having handling problems. Got that Childress Chevrolet dialed in a little bit better, so he's up amongst the challengers. Here we are, Wallace, Martin, Steve Park from the top down. Battle out on the racetracks now, battle on the pits as Wallace gets away. Look at the bottom of your screen. And Dale Jarrett, now he wants to take advantage, running second in the championship. Wants to take advantage of the fact that Bobby Labonte is not having a good night. That Bristol wants to close down on that lead. 111 points behind in the championship standings as we went into this race at Bristol. Well, it looks like Dale Earnhardt is actually coming back into the pits for a quick handling adjustment on that Chevy, just having had new tires. He comes straight back in. Oh, it gets very, very crowded in there. So Dale Earnhardt seems to come in and out very, very quickly. Quick change in the track bar, sway bar. Bobby Labonte still in the pits. His points threat, or points lead, I should say, is under threat. But he's going to battle hard to stay out there and pick up as many points as possible. So it's the restart now, lap 399, 101 laps to go here at Bristol. Tony Stewart is leading this race now from Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Two short track specialists behind the young pretender Tony Stewart. One of the most successful drivers in such a short career in Winston Cup racing. Two-time rookie winner in his first year. Already twice a winner this year. But I tell you, he's got a lot of talent right behind him. And that man there, Rusty Wallace, looking to get his 9th win at Bristol. Already won this year at Bristol. Wants to make it 2 out of 2. First driver to do that since Dale Earnhardt, who won it here last year, so look out for him putting a challenge in. So it is Bobby Gordon, we see there running down. But right now, Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace riding behind him, Mark Martin battling in that 3rd place. Oh, and that is, somebody's gone in the wall and ruptured their fuel can. That's the 77 car, Robert Presley. Well, something we thankfully very rarely see in NASCAR competition. Now, we really want to see Robert Presley getting out of that car. Involved with Scott Pruitt, we think, in that incident. And the Bristol safety crew get over there. And he gets out of that car in fine shape, up into the wall hard. And that is Scott Pruitt he gets involved with, and that is very, very nasty fire. As the car is going backwards, fuel tank located in the rear, very, very uncommon for it to rupture. But the fire absolutely engulfs the car as he's going in the wrong direction. And the cockpit is actually behind where the fire is, and the fire goes all around the cockpit momentarily. But it looks like Robert Presley got out of there pretty much unscathed. We saw him with his helmet off afterwards. Oh, and that's very, very nasty indeed. Wow. So Robert Presley absolutely... You can't get any more on fire than that for a few moments, but thankfully you can see the heavy, heavy rear impact. He's actually got his helmet off already in the car and just steps away. Thanks, guys. You just want to put that out for me? I'm okay. And thankfully, that is something that we don't really see in NASCAR racing very often. And that is due to a very, very heavy rearward impact. Well, Tony Stewart leads this race from Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Steve Park is right up there. So it's 100 laps to go. Things are hotting up. Join us back. As we get a restart here, 89 laps to go, lap 411 here, Rusty Wallace and Tony Stewart in the front of this field. Tony Stewart was leading, but Rusty Wallace leads once again as he takes the lead. Mark Martin slipping into second place, so Tony Stewart drops right back. There it is. Mark Martin just squeezes by Tony Stewart. Absolutely side by side now on the banking at Bristol. But it looks like he's just being hung out to dry there a little bit. Tony Stewart, ex-sprint car driver. So this is the run to the end of this race. Number 88, Dale Jarrett, really looking for a strong finish here to get points. Close down on that lead. Championship leader Bobby Labonte, and that is the 01 car of Ted Musgrave. On lap 415, it's going to bring out another yellow. We see Musgrave getting sideways on. Looks like David Green also went off. Well, looks like the Bristol crowd are enjoying their NASCAR racing, as they always do in Tennessee. 48 laps to go. Oh, and that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ken Schrader getting together down that front stretch. Big spin there for Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's going to bring out another yellow. Already a winner this year in his rookie NASCAR year. Doesn't look like he's going to do it again. Oh, and that's Jeremy Mayfield and Bobby Hamilton have gotten together. And we see, oh, and that's Bobby Hamilton just coming up. Well, that's a combination of Bobby Hamilton just not seeing what's happening. Maybe his spotter not advising him. The whole field slowing right down there. And Bobby Hamilton just 10, 15 miles an hour faster than everybody had just come up and absolutely smacks into the back of Jeremy Mayfield. Leaders in the pits then. There it is, Rusty Wallace. At the top of the screen, Tony Stewart and Mark Martin. Look at the difference in those pit stops. Tony Stewart fastest by 0.8 of a second. Now Dale Jarrett wants to make it into the top 5 in the closing part of this race. Really want to get that gap down. Well, more action coming up, and we hand you over now to the American commentary crew.
He's the leader of the race. He changed 2 tires on that last stop, trying to get that track position, and it worked. But now he's trying his best to get by the 14 car, the Disco car, Rick Mast. And now he's got trouble on his back number, Rusty Wallace. Oh, Rusty backs off. Cuts him a break.
Well, I'll back up and get a run at him again here, maybe coming off of turn 2. Larry Burton, only 2 right side tires. And that's the pit stop on 453.
Oh, here's Rusty. Now he is faster than the 22 car, but doesn't mean he can pass.
All right, what about that 2-tire stop, John Kernan?
Jerry, I talked to his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin. He said, hey, you got to take a chance sometimes. And this afternoon I was talking with Ward, and Ward said, you know, a lot of drivers don't like coming to this racetrack. He said, I love coming here to Bristol. I love to drive this racetrack. And even though Rusty's getting around him right now, he's still headed possibly for a top 5 finish. When I talked to him this afternoon, that was what he wanted to do.
Well, he gets passed by Rusty Wallace now for second spot, but he's hanging on. Tony Stewart's still a couple of cars back.
One problem with Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, a couple of problems they have is the 31 car and the 36 are racing for position. Talking about Schrader, the 36, and the 31 of Skinner, they're battling for the 13th position, so they can't just kind of get out of these guys' way because it's not to their benefit.
And he can't run 3 wide, not very successfully here. So now Tony Stewart does get up above the 31 car of Skinner. And Ward Burton now pulls up, and so as Stewart and Skinner have a little bit of rubbing action.
And you're the 6th car. Joe Pilot gets on the inside of 20 trying to take the spot away. He ain't quite good. Meanwhile, Earnhardt is on the apron trying to get by the 6th. And here comes that Elliott Sadler again.
33 laps to go, and it's going to come down to who can get by who. If they got a shot to catch Rusty Wallace pulling away by a straightaway here. There's Tony Stewart, the 2nd place car, or 3rd place car, I should say. Skinner able to go by Ward Burton. Now Vinny Stewart may have a shot.
He does. He takes over that 2nd spot. Here comes Mark Martin. Is he up far enough? Not quite. Now he is.
Side by side for 3rd position. Martin will make the move. Ward Burton up high. It opens the door for not only Martin to go by, but Earnhardt. Here comes Elliott Sadler.
Well, those 2 tires just aren't working for Ward Burton. Got a good track position, but it's going to be hard to keep it.
Now look back at Elliott Sadler, the Citgo Ford. Elliott trying to work on the inside of Ward Burton. 4th position for 5th spot.
Well, there's a train right behind him there. There's Steve Clark, and then Sterling Marlin, then Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, all right there just waiting to pounce if they get up there and get an opportunity. Well, I tell you, if something happens to one of those in front of that, he could be dodging, not pouncing.
Sterling Marlin able to go by, as is Jeff Burton, the car number 99. There's Dale Jarrett. Bobby Labonte right behind Jarrett, although Labonte is showing a lap down in 15th position. Jarrett now being shown. He goes by the 22 car in the 9th spot.
I'm showing y'all this because Rusty Wallace has said C to Tony Stewart. We saw Tony having all that trouble getting by the lap cars. He now is about 2 1/4 seconds behind.
And how about Ricky Rudd, the car number 28? Ricky started way back in the back of the pack in 37th position. He's now on the lead lap, or stayed on the lead lap, and being shown in 10th spot.
Yeah, he's one of those that lost out on that lane. He's sitting on the back stretch, and he was running in about 7th position, but got had to get on the back stretch and lost a lot of position, trying to come back.
Jeff Burton has made a pass on Sterling Marlin, 4th position. Look back on our Parts Plus bumper cam back at Sterling. Jeff Burton now taking over the 7th spot, puts Sterling back to 8th. Dale Jarrett right on Sterling's bumper, 4th position. DJ's in 9th, and Rudd is 10th.
And Steve Park, the 1 car, is all over the back bumper. Elliott Sadler off turn 4. It's a half lap later. Now they're back and 4 again.
Elliott Sadler's best career finish at 10th at Texas back in the spring of '99. In line had his best ever Winston Cup finish here tonight. If he can hang on, he is currently in 5th position.
But it looks like he might lose that. The 1 car just got on the inside of the 21 as he watched this battle back in the pack. As Jarrett tries to get around Sterling Marlin, but there Steve Park goes around, and everything happening at once here. Now Jeff Burton gets on the inside of Elliott Sadler.
Sadler will slide back 2 spots. The 7th spot. Folks, 18 laps, and at 15 seconds a lap, it's about 5 minutes of action left at Bristol, Tennessee, in the 40th running of the GoRacing.com 500. Well, where is Rusty?
He's gone.
Abington, maybe? No, there he is. Rusty Wallace. 261 laps he has led in what you might call a dominating performance, which he has done before here in wins at Bristol, Tennessee.
So Rusty Wallace will walk off with the $10,000 from the Gatorade Company for leading the most laps at Bristol this evening. Well, it's not over. We keep talking about that last half mile. Be sure and watch the last half mile.
Got a little bit exciting here last year in those last 3 laps. And Rusty Wallace in the Miller Lite Ford Taurus. There is Tony Stewart in second spot. Mark Martin third. Earnhardt is fourth.
Tony Stewart is closing up the gap rapidly on Rusty Wallace, but he's still got a 2 3/4 deficit to make up.
But Rusty's going to have a lot of traffic right in front of him in about 2 laps. A lot of traffic, a whole group of cars.
Well, here's a battle that's been really going on. BJ's been trying to get around the 40, and Ricky Rudd has caught him. Now he's trying to get around BJ.
And here's our leader now trying to get by Rick Maston. Right in front of Rick, there's a lot of cars running right together. Rusty will have to negotiate this traffic, and depends on if he gets through and Tony Stewart can get through. Because you see Tony now, you can see him starting to reel Rusty in, but will he have enough time? 11 laps to go in Bristol, Tennessee.
A 2.5 deficit for Tony Stewart. You see him back there. The third car back is a second place car, Tony Stewart.
Gary Nadeau up across the racetrack right in front of the leader. A little brush with the concrete there. Already had some damage in the left front of that car. MichaelHolligan.com Chevy out of the Rick Hendricks table. He heads for pit road. And moments ago, a pair of Yates teammates had a little bit of contact.
Going into turn 3, Ricky got on the inside of DJ. DJ came down there a little bit, and they went side by side, and Ricky had to back off. DJ held on to the position.
Well, Rusty Wallace 8 laps away from taking the checkered flag for his 4th win of the season.
But there's Tony Stewart. He's just 3/4 of a second behind Rusty Wallace, and still traffic in front of Rusty. They're talking about the two-tire stop. Look, Ward Burton about to go a lap down.
That just simply did not work. He wishes, man, I wish I could have given up that track position and got me 4 tires.
Well, you can visibly see now the margin shrinking as Tony Stewart will have to negotiate these cars. Rusty now in clear racetrack. If Stewart can get by, and there's Ward Burton right in front of him. He has to back out.
Ward moves up the racetrack and lets him go.
5 laps to go. Lap traffic really hurt Tony Stewart. Oh, he dropped off some 2 miles an hour after the jam on the brakes there a moment ago. Now tries to reel in Rusty Wallace. But he may run out of time. Rusty Wallace a week ago at Michigan picked up his 52nd career win, putting him all alone as the 8th winningest driver in NASCAR. He is 2 laps away from win number 53. Set on the pole to begin the night with a new event qualifying record, a brand new car that Robin Pemberton and the Penske South crew built and brought to Bristol. Final lap for Rusty Wallace, 44 years of age. Comes up on the rear, the lap car of Jeff Gordon, and the checkered flag will wave for Rusty Wallace. He takes his 4th win of the season, his 53rd career victory, and his 9th win at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Well, Rusty Wallace takes his 9th win. As our at-track commentator Jerry Punchnet Jarrett and Benny Parsons confirm, and he just does prove to be the master of Bristol in recent history. Tony Stewart gave him a hard run down to the final. Flag, but traffic getting in his way, and Rusty Wallace really just working the lap traffic to his advantage. There it is. Good run there at the end. Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart did everything he could, nearly losing that 2nd place to Mark Martin. And Dale Earnhardt coming up strong after dropping down a little bit early on. Terry Labonte there, right down a lap down. He is our championship leader. Excuse me, Bobby Labonte, our championship leader. That's his brother, Terry, at the top of that page. But we spoke to the winner, Rusty Wallace.
It was a complete team effort, no doubt about that. We had a great car, a good engine, and pit stops were fabulous all night long. And everybody was here. We had John Bowen, our CEO, and we had a great house.
Loose. Bobby Labonte still leads it, though, but that lead is being chipped away at by Dale Jarrett. Look at that man